Hi friends, Chandrasekhar here again in the second of the series of lecture on grahas, the concept behind grahas and how they affect our mind. As I have explained in the earlier lecture, they, at least to my mind, appear to affect more our mind, and through that make us do certain things which then later on give us some results which we call our bhagya, our fate, or whatever. Yeah, part of the bhagya, of course, the fate is dependent on the karmas of our last life. However, they are more or less restricted to our body, our parentage, or whatever level of intellect we inherit because of the DNA is involved and the genes and so on and so forth, our color, our height, everything. But the nature or how we utilize the resources, if I may call them, that are given to us by, or rather indicated by the position of planets in our natal chart, is more governed by our way of thinking, which is perhaps influenced by the planets in a particular position at a particular point of time. Okay, having understood that, we will now go to the most important of the grahas, that is Surya, called Sun. One of the definitions of Surya is that which delivers or that which gives birth to something is called Surya. Prasutya iti Surya is how it is expressed in some of the Shabdakoshas, the thesaurus of Sanskrit language. People many a times think that the ancient did not know exactly what it is and just saw it and thought it is something shiny, so it might be affecting human life and so on. But their knowledge went beyond that. Maharishi Vyasa, for the foreign listeners, Maharishi is what they understand better than Maharshi, which is the correct pronunciation of the word, who was son of Parashara, the author or the supposed author of Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, and who divided the one Veda into 3 and then on to 4, once explained how this operates. He says, Nakshatra Graha Somanam Pratishtha Yoni Revacha. That is, all the constellations, the planets and moon were placed in a womb, if you may call it, and you have to understand here that sun is referred to as Hiranyagarbha, a fetus or an egg which is like gold. And then it goes on to say Chandra, Ruksha, Grahanam, Sarve, Vidneya, Surya Sambhava, which means, as we saw, they say that all the constellations, all the planets and even moon were placed in a womb or in an egg represented by sun, the Hiranyagarbha, and he is telling his disciples to understand. Vidneya means to understand that which is worthy of being known is Neya. So that all of these are born out of sun. So the fact that planets are part of sun, they got detached, then got cooled and so on and so forth and started moving around sun was known even to the ancients, and they knew the reason why it happened. Okay, so having understood this, we shall go ahead with what is sun, what is Surya. As we see, he is the prime planet from which all planets got detached, which is in a lyrical way has been expressed by Maharshi Vyasa as Surya Sambhava, born out of sun, and so he is considered king amongst planets. There is a planetary cabinet image, and sun is the king. He represents father. He represents government, naturally, because if he is king, then he represents government. Anything which is powerful, somebody who rules over others, is also represented by sun. He represents stout trees, or those who know timber, they are called trees with heartwood, where when you cut the timber, the grains appear because they are very tough type of timber, like teak in India and maybe oak elsewhere. So, because I am not much familiar with it, but that is what all stout woods, all wood that is strong, all timber that is strong, or all the trees which have very strong trunk, you may call it, which can then later on be used for many purposes, and out of which things are created or prepared, all are ruled by sun. Sun also rules the bones. The bones form the basic body structure over which everything else is fitted. If we can use the engineering terminology, it's more like a what we call the cement concrete. You insert steel bars in a mixture of cement and metal, which gives it strength. So this is the basic structure over which everything is built, including our body. Now, what are the qualities of sun? When we think of sun, we should understand that he is king. And what are the qualities of king? King always wants to rule. He wants his orders to be obeyed. He has ego. That is why he wears crown, to appear to be taller and larger and greater than others. He sits on a throne which is also placed at a higher level than others, so that he also represents ego. Somebody who thinks that by birth or by right he is supposed to rule and others are supposed to follow does have ego. And he likes wealth, which is normally in Hindu system is more looked at from Suvarna, the gold. One of the names of sun is Hiranyagarbha. As I was telling you, Hiranya means gold again. He also looks golden. He rules over bitter taste. When your boss is angry and talks to you, you will understand how he talks. And generally people under influence of sun, especially in the second house or something like that, might be liking the bitter taste. And then next thing is wool. Anything which is hot is ruled by sun. As we know, when sun rises, gradually the temperature goes on rising. So sun rises first in the first bhava, the Lagna bhava, then he travels to the 12th bhava, then to the 11th, and then to the 10th, where he is at the top of our head. If we go out and see what happens at around 12 o'clock, it's actually midday, you will see sun at the top. That is when he is he gives the harshest or the strongest solar rays to us. He is also called Bheshaja, the doctor, and you know that vitamin A and D3 deficiency causes many problems, and that is given free of cost by sun. He also makes the vanaspati, the herbs, which are basically ruled by moon. He makes them dry, and that is when the chemical elements that are helpful in a herb are developed, and so he is also called Bheshaja, the doctor. Then we must understand that sun, when strong, naturally would be harsh. As we know, he gets Digbala, the directional strength, in the 10th house. Okay, 10th house is when it is midday, when sun is at brightest in the sky. If you are standing below it, you will sweat a lot, especially if you are living in a country like India, which is tropical country. But even in northern hemisphere, I mean, rather the countries on higher latitudes or northern latitudes would experience that 12 o'clock sun is more harsh than the sun which arises or when he is about to set. That is when he is about to set, he loses his strength, goes on through night and again rises. From Lagna he goes on gaining strength. Now this has to be understood when we are talking about ego. So sun in the Lagna will act in a different fashion. He is gaining his strength, and as a person grows, he would perhaps become more egoistic or more self-confident. Self-confidence, ego, lack of confidence are all things on the same scale. So it is absolute lack of confidence, some lack of confidence, then overconfidence and ego. This is the scale, and as he goes from debility on to his path of exaltation, he would go through all those stages. He would represent those stages. You also see that he is, you know, as I said, he represents father. So if sun is in the 10th house, you will generally see the father of the Jataka is a self-made person. Now, being a self-made person, as all self-made people would know, they are a bit intolerant, especially towards their own progeny. And so, usually in such cases, you will find that the progeny doesn't grow when they are with the father. Perhaps because he eclipses all of them. He has a lot of energy, a lot of efficiency involved, because sun also represents administration. So for those who want to go to like courses like management courses or something like that, or government competitive exams, sun is very important. We must remember that. And look at it this way: what happens? See, when sun rises, Hindus worship him. They also worship him when he sets. Now what happens with your boss? Because sun also represents boss. Anybody who exerts authority, anybody who sets rules for the Jataka can be seen from position of sun and his intensity or his weakness. So even in offices you will see that when the boss comes, you greet him. When he leaves, you are very happy and again greet him. Or when he joins, a new boss joins, you have a great ceremony to welcome him. When he is transferred or he leaves the job, then you give him a party. But in between, what happens? You try to be a bit away from him, beyond the good side of him. He likes praise. He is sun. Kings like to be praised, and even they like getting credit for things not done by them. This is what sun represents. Sun also represents ambition. Sun is also giver of knowledge. Never forget that. But his way of giving knowledge is a bit different, because he wants certain rules to be followed and then he would give knowledge. He doesn't have much time, and this is explained in a way in Surya Siddhanta, when Mayasur, the Maya demon we call it, but in English, but it is Asura, one who is not Sura, one who is not Deva, is always called the Asura. So the Mayasura went to Lord Surya and sought knowledge about astronomy from him, and what he says is, you will not be able to bear my rays, neither do I have time to stop for you. So I am leaving this shadow person of mine, shadow part of mine, who will teach you the Surya Siddhanta. So he is giver of knowledge, but he has no time to waste on, if I may say so, people who are not very sincere. And he is a bit sometimes dominating on the students. Though he would impart knowledge, the person has to have capacity to take knowledge from him. So you will find many a times people who appear to be very strict and people are scared of them. If you approach them properly and seek their opinion, they would be very helpful to you. So remember that just because sun is in Lagna and very powerful and the person is egoistic, it is not necessary that he is harmful. You must understand, the Jataka must understand how to tackle him. As I said, you have to use all tools at your command to find out what best to get out of it. Even the person who has that ego must understand that since he has ego, people are scared of him, so he better explain properly without appearing to be dominant. Then he would be popular, even if he does have ego and he is strict, there is no doubt about it. Now again, sun in 12th house or 6th house would appear to be not egoistic. He would still have ego, because it is ultimately sun, especially in the 12th house, because he is now from the sunrise, he has gained some strength, more strength rather, though in 12th everybody loses strength. So what will happen is, the perception of people would be that he is not egoistic. He would still have ego or self-confidence. Such people many a times end up in politics, but not necessarily. So they can also be in government jobs, because sun ultimately aspect 6th house, the house of jobs. So this is how we should understand sun in all its entirety. We must understand that powerful sun can sometimes make that person absolutely adamant about his views. Now, where? Look at the house where he is sitting, and if he gains strength there, that person will be very adamant about his concept of what that thing is. And so somebody like the penultimate Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, who had sun in the ninth house, and it was not exalted in the ninth house per se in the natal chart, but it was exalted in the Navamsha chart. So he gained strength from that. This emperor used to write Qurans with his own hand and sell it to people, appearing to be very having great humility, but he imposed a specific tax called jizya tax on Hindus only because they were not of his religion, and if they want to live in his empire, they had to pay a tax just for not accepting his religion. So you understand that there are different ways in this sun will express himself, but if under control, he will be very fine. He will be excellent. This Aurangzeb also, actually put his own father into prison because sun is ultimately a cruel planet. Never forget that. He is called having sattva, but that sattva has more to do with the strength. He is kshatriya, he is a fighter. This we should understand, because what happens is many a times we get involved in the imagery. Hinduism has a lot of iconography, and if we understand it properly, then it tells you much more than mere words would do. So look at sun right from the morning till it sets, find out what happens, how you feel, and you will understand how to deal with it. So sun is at 12 o'clock, you better open your umbrella. There's no sense in cursing him, because but for him you will not see the day. But for him, even plants will not grow. So he does contribute something, but that contribution, whatever he contributes, has to be converted into something else. As plants convert it into chlorophyll and then take it and grow. We take it at vitamin A and D3, then our skin improves, it doesn't get sunburnt, and so on and so forth. So my friends, I hope this has not been a long lecture, and in the next lecture we will go on to Moon, the next planet, as far as the days are concerned, like Sunday, Monday, and so on. We will go in that order. It is easier to understand also, and he is also luminary as sun is luminary. Remember, sun never retrogrades. That is one principle that has been given by sages. Other planets sometimes retrograde, sometimes go direct. Rahu and Ketu, of course, are always retrograde, and that is why you have to take mean notes instead of true notes. That is what has been told by sages. So my dear friend, I will take your leave, and I will request you again to give your comments, and also if you need to ask anything, you ask questions. I welcome them. If you don't agree with my opinion, you tell that. I welcome that too, because this is a vast knowledge. Astrology is a vast knowledge. There is no end to it, and at least I know that I know only a bit of it, and if I have been able to add value to your knowledge or add value to whatever I am saying or the science itself, I will be very glad. So my friends, thanks, and see you in the next lecture to come soon. Thank you very much, my friends.